Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Data Scientist Podcast. We're very happy to have here with us today Clay Hawkins. Hi, Clay.
Hey, how you doing, Stelios?
Yeah, I'm
Happy
doing
to be
great.
here.
Thanks. Good morning,
Good.
Clay.
Yeah,
Clay,
good.
you're in California, right?
I am indeed. I am indeed. Good afternoon. Yep, I'm in Northern California, so it's about 10
Perfect.
here.
So what we're going to discuss today with Clay is about music and blockchain. Clay is the CEO and the founder of the Open Music Exchange. As some of you might know, like music is one of my big passions, other than data science and AI, obviously. And I personally believe that blockchain can really disrupt the music industry, but it hasn't done that yet. So Clay is the CEO of the Open Music Exchange, a blockchain startup in the music industry. And really, Clay, I was really looking forward to your thoughts as to what you believe is the current state of blockchain in the music industry, and why you believe that we need a new company. Is there, like, for example, everyone knows about audios, but apparently audios, there are many things that it hasn't done right. So I was really keen on hearing your thoughts about what you think can be improved and what the Open Music Exchange can bring to the table.
Yeah, thank you, Stelios. Well, I think NFTs in particular. Outside of what the ledger capabilities of blockchain to just track sales and things like that, like the traditional kind of stuff, components of the record industry. In our instance, and I kind of feel like hopefully this is a trend that we'll see in the future, is that NFTs, uh, outside of the way that they've been used thus far, which is more speculative and that sort of collectibles and that kind of a thing, we see it as a way that you can give an artist the ability to gate sort of access to their music. And this is something that, in a way, I don't think has really ever been able, something so cheaply and inefficient, like effectively, that can give artists this ability now to decide, the current industry, the streaming paradigm, they set a rate at what they'll pay out their artists, which is, terribly low, to the point where there's really no money in recorded music anymore. And a third of a penny, it's like what Spotify does. So uh, we're kind of the opinion that with blockchain and with NFTs being able to be minted so inexpensively, we can let the artist be their own record label, their own record store, their own distributor. They get to do all of this for almost no cost, unlike the old days of the music industry, where you had all that brick and mortar. Now, for less than 50 cents, using an 1155 smart contract, you can mint an NFT for a song, mint 20 million NFT copies for that, just like you had 20 million copies of an album back in the day. And each one of those acts as a digital key that unlocks the access to whatever content the artist has endowed that NFT with. And with that content, the majority of it basically being the music residing on our platform, the artists license their music to us, and then we just stream it out to anybody that owns that NFT. From our vantage point, it's unlike Audius, the current state of the music industry on blockchain at this point seems to be highly collectibles. It seems to be favoring big stars. Everybody's heard of Snoop Dogg and those guys all being involved in the space. And but they're minting, they're taking advantage of their name and their brand, and they're minting, scarce quantities, very collectible kind of elements. They're usually selling them for quite a bit. And I sort of feel like all of that is a more of a niche use case for NFTs at this point. I think that I was speaking to somebody at a financial company the other day, and and he kind of agreed that, utility, we're trying to bring utility to these NFTs where they give you access as the most basic fundamental utility that they have. And because they're unique in the sense that if you bought it, you own it, it's an NFT.
Mhm.
This is hopefully where the NFT industry can like really thrive, is this kind of intelligent access, opening capabilities, that kind of thing for data and whatnot. So I haven't really seen our other competitors. Audius, they're not really selling NFTs, and they're kind of going through their own growing pains.
Mhm.
And there's a couple other different platforms that, from what we've seen, like it still seems to be catering towards that collectible status. And I feel like
Mm.
the beautiful thing about blockchain is that, and the technology around NFTs on blockchains is that it's really a democratization, and brings this power back to the common man. I mean, like we always hear about that with like cryptocurrencies and stuff like that, but at least in our specific use case, we're able to tell the average musician, yeah, you can put
Mhm.
your music on our platform. You can mint these for very little money, under $1, and you can get them out there on a blockchain. The blockchain will take care of everything for you, in terms of the, all of the data,
Mhm.
and you actually have a say about what is about your music, about what, if there's some value in that music,
Mhm.
then a blockchain can help you actually retain that value and capture it and manipulate it and sell it and guide it, rather than just throwing it out to the powers that be now that decide that you don't get anything for it. So
Mhm.
um yeah, that's kind of where I'm pretty excited about the way that I feel like the all of the merits and the benefits of blockchain technology, they really shine when it comes down to letting musicians and creators and stuff like that. I mean, I think we're going to see a lot of that, the creative artistic markets, um, carve out their use cases on blockchains, and specifically with devices like NFTs. And as smart contracts, they evolve as well, like then the capabilities, of what an artist is going to be able to do, curate,
Mhm.
control, all that stuff is going to grow as well. So it's
And
a
do you
great
think that,
technology.
yeah, do you think that the blockchain can overtake the music industry as it currently is, like Spotify and record labels? Do you see that there's a potential to see this happening in the next 10 years, for example?
I I think that there is, because um not only because of the benefits of blockchain in eliminating a middleman, allowing an artist and a fan to interact directly with each other. That's pretty hard to beat, knowing all of the music, all of the money that a fan pays could essentially go right to the artist. Everybody can see, all the accounting is out there for everyone to see, and it's a direct fan to artist experience. I also think that the current music industry, I mean, we've all kind of, even if you're even passively uh involved with music at all, everybody kind of knows that musicians have always gotten the short end of the stick,
Mm.
like they don't get paid usually. What, even back in the music industry, the record labels took 9 out of every $10 for every record, and um so the as far as from a musician standpoint, from a fan standpoint, from a consumer standpoint, it's in some ways it's never been better. Right?
Mm.
You pay your small subscription and you just get everything.
Yeah.
But this is, I don't think it's sustainable as a market, because if you can't actually survive as an artist and make a living, then the quality of the art is going to diminish over time, I think, because you just don't have, you know, the time, the people that they can't sustain their careers and build their art and develop it into something. And so I kind of feel like, and just from my experience in the music industry and with the peers that I have that are performers and are involved in the industry, they're clamoring for something, anything, you know, they just don't have an alternative right now. So if you know, as a musician, you just literally do not have an alternative. And I think that's why these platforms, I mean, they have such a grip, but technology is disruptive, right? And that's one of the beautiful things about technology. And I think that this particular technology, blockchain, just like is the power it has to disrupt so many industries, it has that exact same power with the music industry. And they've really kind of put themselves in a box. They've created something that does need to be replaced. You know, they've created a really drastic need for an alternative. And I kind of I'm of the hopes that if we provide an artist with a simple, straightforward, practical way to utilize these tools, then what do they have to lose, right? As an artist, you can, you know, and so there's that working in the evolutionary favor and the trend, pushing that trend is that, well, on this side of the trend, you have a bunch of artists who are not making anything anymore. And so the natural momentum, if you can just give an artist a way to possibly monetize their music again, I would feel that, you know, and this is most important with emerging artists. You know, like, we're not talking about the 1% that earns, you know, most of the money in music, which is the superstars.
Yeah.
How does the average everyday emerging artist that's trying to get their career off the ground, how do they get going? And that's where this technology with blockchain stuff really shines, because as we know, it's available to everybody worldwide. And so yeah, I think it's in some ways it's inevitable, like a lot of industries that are getting disrupted by blockchain. I think that they're something like banking, you know, all of these industries that just can't really compete because they're working from a very old model, you know, that I just don't think the current generation, if artists want to, you know, seriously, if somebody's serious about earning money from their music and they take that responsibility serious, then they would naturally migrate towards something that might be a solution, you know. So that's kind of.
And what do you find that Audius is currently doing wrong, which could be done better?
Well, the first thing, you know, I was surprised that they really put a high bar, like of hurdle in terms of just their user experience, it seems. You know, I haven't spent a ton of time going through their platform, but they, you know, as we all know, crypto's not simple if you're not initiated, if you don't know, you know, about wallets and how blockchains work and stuff like that, and crypto, the volatility involved. To me, this is just from my vantage point, it seemed like, well, for one, they insisted on paying everybody out in their audio token, and that I know that at the height of the bull run was like trading at around $6 or something, but now it's at, I think it was like, last I saw it was like at 16 cents or something. So
Yeah, we're in a
that's a
bear
big
market.
problem, right? If you got paid out in audio tokens, that's a real bummer. And then, but then on top of that, you have to take, I looked up, I think Binance was the only big exchange that I saw that was actually carrying audio tokens. So as far as then cashing those out to, your what kind of off ramp you have, what your choices are if you wanted to actually get into fiat to spend your earnings. Now, are you dealing with the taxes in your country related around
Yeah,
the cashing out your crypto? So by the time the depreciation of the coin and then the going through the off ramp taxation, kind of getting it in a fiat process into your bank. As far as an emerging, like what I was saying in the last question, if you're trying to offer an alternative to artists, well, you kind of need to make it sort of easy and feasible and profitable, right? And it seemed to me like by going down that road, they've really, you got to have a huge leap of faith that like there's something that's going to happen here, that their audio token's going to like skyrocket. And
so yeah, I think essentially the problem was with their tokenomics, right? I think this is where many
yeah,
projects get it wrong. Like many projects, they launch during a bull run when everything is easy and money is abundant, and during the hard times they just don't survive, or they do very poorly, right?
right. I got a lot of, I clicked on a thread, on a Reddit thread about Audius, and somebody was complaining about not getting their tokens. And then I think because I clicked on that, I started regularly getting Reddit thread posts in my email, and there were a lot of emails that, or a lot of Reddit threads that people were complaining that like, hey, I can't get paid in my audio tokens. I'm still waiting on this. I can't get a hold of anybody. So yeah, I think that it does seem like as the bear market's kind of progressed, and everything sort of compressed, there, it seemed that there, and again, I'm not an authority on any of it, obviously, but it just from my perspective of what I was noticing and observing, it seemed like there was a lot of user frustration around the way that their business model was not functioning as the token declined,
Yeah.
and as everything kind of contracted. So yeah, we're trying to stay very simple as we possibly can for musicians, and make this as an easy of a user experience as we possibly can make it, given that it is in the crypto space. And we're not going to be basing any of our payouts or any of the monetization on our coin, on our token. So our token is more of a participate to earn at this point, and we're going to be, using more stable coins and stuff like that. Something I think you have to ease people into this space a little bit, and especially when it concerns their money.
Yeah, thinking for in blockchain business that's in the B2C space, I think this is a major point, right? Like making the transition smooth. And I think that's a very good point, what you described. Like not everyone wants to deal with crypto per se, so you need to make it more friendly.
Right. I mean, it's the whole industry needs to do this, right? I mean, it's all, across every genre, sector. Like it's that adoption is basically with just the UX of like all of these crypto companies. We get used to it because we're involved in this space.
Yeah.
But it's amazing, I mean, I'm sure you just go talk to somebody who's not in the space, and their eyes just graze over because they just don't understand. It's just immediately, they've got some idea of what they've read or heard in the market. Some NFT news came down, and that's all they know. And
Yeah.
so yeah, to the degree I think that any company can really take that into account, and not assume that their users are going to embrace this just because, I think that you really have to do that legwork
Yeah.
for now. The trends are in our favor. I mean, like the on-ramps and the payouts and all that stuff will come in to play. And I think all the user experiences for the wallets and the blockchains and everything is, obviously, gratefully, it's changing and it is working in our favor. But if you're starting up a company now, I mean, it's just, we're still in the early stages of so much of this, right? Everybody's trying to figure it out, whether it's the government's trying to figure it out, corporations trying to figure it out, banks trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Everybody's
Yeah, that's true.
trying to figure it out. And we are too, but we're pretty clear on what we're doing. So now it's just a matter of getting it out there in front of people.
Yeah, absolutely. So great stuff, Clay. And if people want to learn more about you and the Open Music Exchange, where should they go?
Oh, ohm.audio. It's OME for Open Music Exchange .audio, AUDIO. That's got everything on it. And our beta is going to be up and running this week, actually. I just put a bunch of music on it over the weekend. And we've got a few more little tweaks and some things we're trying to work out. And then we're going to start onboarding artists later this week. And then we should be live as a beta to everyone. We're shooting for like around August 10th, 11th to, open up to the whole platform to everybody. So it'll be crypto based at this point, and with fiat on and off ramps kind of developing as we go. So
perfect. Thank you, Clay. Have a good rest of the day.
Thank you, Stelios. Thanks so much. Take care.
Thanks, everyone, for being here with us. Make sure to go to thedatascientist.com for more content on data science, AI, and blockchain. Thank you, everyone, and we hope to see you again soon.